407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we were highly resolved that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Tuesday, June 30th, 1863. A Confederate infantry brigade from General A.P. Hill's corps heads towards Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, in search of supplies. The Confederates spot Union cavalry heading towards Gettysburg.
Rations were scarcely issued, and the men about preparing supper, when rumors that the enemy had been encountered that day near Gettysburg absorbed every other interest, and very soon orders came to the march forthwith to Gettysburg. Colonel Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain.
Wednesday, July 1st. Confederate commanders sent troops to engage Brigadier General John Buford's cavalry at Gettysburg at McPherson Ridge. Union soldiers, under the command of Major General John F. Reynolds, arrived mid-morning to support Buford. Reynolds is soon killed by a bullet to the head. Confederate Army General Robert E. Lee arrives in Gettysburg mid-afternoon. By then, Union forces are on the retreat through the town of Gettysburg and regroup at Cemetery Hill. Lee orders Confederate General R.S. Ewell to attack at Cemetery Hill, but Ewell hesitates, giving Union troops time to bring in reinforcements and set up artillery. As night falls, the Union's lead commander at Gettysburg, Major General George Meade, orders all Union forces to Gettysburg. In all, more than 90,000 troops.
We entered Gettysburg in the afternoon, just in time to meet the enemy entering the town, and in good season to drive him back before he's getting in a foothold. John Buford.
Thursday, July 2nd, 1863. Meade arrives in the middle of the night. Lee orders two of his generals, James Longstreet and Ewell, to attack the flanks of the Union forces on Culp's Hill. But Longstreet delays and attacks much later than Ewell, giving Union forces more time to strengthen their position. Union's Major General, Daniel Sickles, advances in front of the main line and comes under attack. The two sides engage in some of the fiercest fighting of the Civil War, ensuring that the locations Peach Orchard, Devil's Den, the Wheat Field, and Little Round Top go down in history. Ewell attacks Union troops at Cemetery Hill and Culp's Hill, but Union forces hold their position. Late in the night, Lee decides on a plan. On Friday, he will attack where least expected, at the center of the Union line along Cemetery Ridge.
Friday, July 3rd. Fighting begins around 4 a.m. with cannon fire. Union artillery pounds the rebels at the lower end of Culp's Hill. Union troops finally succeed in driving the rebels from the hill and fighting over Culp's Hill's end. Around 1 p.m., Confederate cannons open fire on the Union position at the center of Cemetery Ridge. The Union artillery slows its fire to trick the rebels into thinking they had knocked out the Union cannons. General George Pickett commands 15,000 Confederate troops as they charge Cemetery Ridge. The Union artillery opens up again, devastating the Confederate line. The battered, outnumbered rebels begin to retreat. Lee rides out to meet the survivors, taking all the wounded. He reportedly says, "All this has been my fault. It is I who have lost this fight, and you must help me out the best way you can." The battle for Gettysburg is over. Gettysburg was the last attempt by the South to launch a major offensive in the northern states.